What's going on, everybody? Eastern Shore Yu-Gi-Oh! Here with a Banlist prediction video. As you can see right off, we are hitting things strong with...
Link Rebo. I think this is strictly a card caught in the crossfire. I think that a card that could have been hit before, but I think this is the format, and the decks that are currently running around are the ones that just kind of push it over the edge.
Up next, we have card that I feel needs to be hit is Dimension Shifter. We feel that a ban is worthy of it, but that's our hopes for the card. But one way, shape, or form, this card needs to get hit. It's oppressive. Most of the decks in this current format need their graveyards, whether they're rogue, meta, tier 2. They need the graveyard, so Dimensional Shifter being able to just completely wipe the ability to do so, it needs to be addressed.
And the next card is Sanctifier. Now, when it comes to this card, it's getting played. The branded package getting played in other decks, and they're splashing in, Gimmick Puppet Nightmare, which is the next card we're talking about. But it also plays Joug and stuff like that, and it's a very impressive card. And I feel like Sanctifier and both Gimmick Puppet need to be hit just to allow people to play and clean up the format.
Another card that can see a hit on the list with support upcoming to a deck that this card is played in. I feel that Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Calamity can be hit. Locking your opponent by being able to activate effects. Like I said, the deck's coming out with new support. Centurion plays this card, and they're getting ready to get support that makes it a lot easier to turbo this out. And just not being able to play, I've never liked cards that make it so you can't activate anything. Like, I was a big hater of VFD back in the day. Absolutely hated that card. This card reminds me a lot of that, so it needs to take a hit.
Now, that's pretty much it. What we think is going to be banned. Now, I'll be surprised if anything that's not on this list is banned. But as for limited, we think Snake Eyes Ash will be hit. Now, this is strictly as a consistency piece to the deck. And the same thing goes with Dark Witch. We think if both of these become limited, the deck is still playable, still competitive, but it's not as consistent, it's not as oppressive. Now, another card that could easily see one is Pot of Prosperity. I think the card has gone unchecked for way too long. Now, I love the card. I played 3 in every deck, but it gives decks that already are consistent more consistency, and I feel like that's the kind of like the key term for this ban list is hitting consistency. So, and now speaking of consistency, I think Kieran, the Fire King Kieran, I feel like that card has to go to 1. I feel like it's extremely oppressive.
Yeah, being able to just it's searchable in Fire Kings. It pops cards. It's quick effect during your opponent's turn. It's making Fire too oppressive right now. I mean, we saw that it won the Team YCS. We're seeing it top events left and right. If they're gonna hit the consistency with Snake Eyes, they need to hit something with the Fire King side of the engine as well. Next on the list, we do have
the Magic Spectre Kieran. Speaking of consistency, we want to give something to take it away. I feel like Magic Spectre, I feel like this is going to be something. It may not be everything the deck needs. A once per turn bounce is nice and all, but I feel like they need something. But as for cleaning up the format, I think we need to hit the rest of the floodgates. I think we need to hit Summon Limit to 1, Skill Drain to 1, and Anti-Spell to 1.
Now, I know at our locals, as far as talking about floodgates, the summon limit, this will make him happy to see on the list. It is very impressive. Just, flipping it over at any point during a turn and telling your opponent, guess what, you're not summoning anymore. It can be a bit much. And then skill drain. If they're already hitting other floodgates and stuff like that, skill drain can go as well. And then, like we said, anti-spell. Even though that one's not doing much right now, in my opinion, like I said, if they're going to be consistent with hitting these floodgates like they did on the last list, these are the last main 3 trap cards that could potentially see uh, the chopping block as well.
And, just to kind of add extra support, title. I mean, we already have the other 3 dragons. Let's just add the 4th. We know that the OCG has some of the XYZs for the elemental dragons. Right now there's not enough water support to make it any crazy. As for semis, I think we're going to start strong with branded fusion. I think in a deck that searches the card and has ways to bring it back, I feel like bring it to 2. All it does is kind of make the deck stumble a little bit, and it's not as necessarily as impactful as limiting it. But then again, we're not trying to just devastate the entire format. We just want to clean it up a little bit. Also, I'd love to see Unchained Shavara come back to 2.
With it being at 1, it did hinder Unchained a little bit, but they're still around. I feel Shavara coming back to 2 would boost the consistency of the deck just a little bit. If we're talking about hitting Prosperity to 1 and other consistency cards to 1, giving them just a little bit of support back. I mean, the card just came out.
It pretty much takes it from being now an engine to actually being able to be its own deck again.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that.
Now, as for unlimited cards, there's not that many. We think Harpur can come to 3. Toss format was an amazing format. And out of all the decks that have gotten all their cards back from the list, I think Harpur could come to 3, definitely.
Considering the deck has not gotten any new support in a long time, whereas other decks from that Toss format have, give Harpur back to 3, give them their consistency back, and I feel the deck would be just fine where it's at with Harp at 3. And then the next card for the unlimited, we have Pankratops.
Now, Pank in this format, I feel like in a format where it's hard going second, you need as much help as you can get. Having that access to Pank, yes, he's nice at 2, but sometimes it's just you can't dig for him without Prosperity. And when you're trying to limit consistency, you have to again add some consistency in other places. So instead of having generic consistency, we need to have like optimized consistency. So I think a 3rd Pank would help a lot of decks.
I agree. So overall, this is what we're looking at. Do we think they're going to touch everything we talked about here? No. Would we love to see that?
Yes.
But realistically, they're probably going to give us a 4th of what we're looking at here. But there's definitely cards on this list in some way, shape, or form are going to get touched.
Yeah, and there's some cards that I would love to see back that I'm not going to put on the list because they're such a long shot. Like, for instance, I'd love to see Heavy Storm come back to 1, Glow Up Ball back to 1. I'd love to see Naturia Sacred Tree come off the list completely.
And then seeing that grass come back to at least 1, especially with new Miller support coming out for like Lightsworn and
the new stuff out of Terminal World. What's it called? Oh my god, Infernoids.
Yes,
because that's going to be something else too. And I feel like having it at 3 is very impressive. I think if anything, the OCG taught us is that grass is greener is good, but they're not playing these 60 card pile decks. They're playing 10 pie hard going second decks. They're still playing fire decks over there.
Yeah.
It's a good card, but leave it at 1, see what it does, and if it's got to come off the list again, that's fine. But
it wouldn't be the first time Konami has brought a card back to 1 to quickly snatch it away from us again. So
we just, for example, Snow. Snow was a perfect example of Konami testing the waters and be like, hey, that didn't work. So I feel like we could definitely do that with that grass is greener. So
well, this is the list. This is what we're thinking. Let us know what you guys think down in the comments below. Like, comment, subscribe, and we will see you guys in the next video. Thank you.